Hey, this is Georgy. Welcome to the third episode of Film Students Diary. First of all, thanks a lot for the positive responses. I've been podcasting using the Anchor platform and they have been distributing it among 5 or 6 different podcast platforms. But after the second episode, I added the audio bounds of podcasts on my YouTube channel as well. The views are meager, but people have asked me to concentrate on YouTube as well. Another request I received is to rethink about my statement that I'll cite examples only from Malayalam movies. So basically, you all want a channel like most of the other ones out there, and then as an icing, you want me to add points from Malayalam movies as well. I hear you. Today's episode falls under the category Let's Dismantle. I was planning to break down a scene from one Malayalam movie which released in '93, but since you asked me to talk on other movies as well, let's switch to a '94 released Hollywood blockbuster. It plots the journey of an innocent protagonist whose fate is like a feather in the wind. It brushes past most of the major events in American history between 1950s and 1970s. Wait, why the hell am I making this so dramatic? As if you haven't seen the thumbnail or description. Anyway, some of you must have guessed it genuinely. It's Forrest Gump. Let's try to study the opening scene of Forrest Gump, directed by Robert Zemeckis. Eric Roth adapted the screenplay from Winston Groom's novel with the same title. So, let's dismantle. See, when the visuals fade in, we see a feather. It drifts downwards from sky, swings in air many times. The first man-made architecture we can see is a cross on the top of a church tower. Trust me, even this is not a coincidence because here the feather denotes destiny and the movie portrays the role of divine intervention in one's fate. It brushes past others and lands at Gum's feet. Now check out his muddy shoes. That show is making us guess from where he must have come from. But as we see him fully, the rest of his attire is neat and tidy. That contradiction will stay there and make us curious about what he is. He he checks the feather with a very unusual curiosity. He moves a box of chocolates and then opens his suitcase. What we see inside is trying to give us clues on him. All visuals try to sing subtly that he is immature. Here, an old red cap, same colored shirt, a couple of pairs of socks, a magazine, brush, paste, and other stuff like that, and also a ping pong paddle. And then he picks a children's illustrated book, probably a reprinted version of Curious George. He opens it and keeps the feather safely inside it, closes the book and his case. As his looks shift to the bus that arrives in front of him, the advertisement we see on it passes the information that the year is 1981. He tries to open the gift wrapped box of chocolates, but then notices a young lady, probably a nurse, who comes and sits next to him. For a fraction of a second, he acts like he was not going to open the gift, and then, like a cute little boy, he offers chocolates to her. When she neglects that offer, he eats some and starts talking to her, though it's very clear that she is not paying attention. And then he serves the theme of the entire movie on a silver platter.
My mom always said life was like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get.
He slowly notices her shoes. We must have already noticed the extravagant shoes. Even the contradiction in terms of both their shoes is not a coincidence. He thinks her shoes are good, but in reality, it hurts her, though she has to wear them all day long. That statement is sharp and it can prick us, but he simply shrugs off that. That's harsh reality, but he don't care and moves on with his story. When he narrates his mama's wise words on shoes, camera slowly begins to focus on him. Even young lady has started to listen to his narration. And as camera gets closer to him, we match cut to his memories through his expression. 30 years back, when his legs are getting strapped to braces to correct his problematic spine. Now let's discuss a bit beyond this scene too. Don't worry, I'm not going to play the entire movie from start to end and talk about it in parallel. I don't want to impart that running commentary feeling, but let's start with his name, for instance. Name is intended to plan an idea about him. Gump. That is an unusual surname. What does it mean? It is colloquially used to denote a foolish or dull-witted person. How he narrates what's his first name reveals even more about him.
Now, when I was a baby, Mama named me after the great Civil War hero, General Nathan Bedford Forrest. She said we was related to him in some way, and what he did was, he started up this club called the Ku Klux Klan. They'd all dress up in their robes and their bed sheets and act like a bunch of ghosts or spooks or something. They'd even put bed sheets on their horses and ride around. And anyway, that's how I got my name, Forrest Gump.
See, he cannot be blamed for his views on clan. His IQ is low. And most importantly, it's what his mama taught him. But if you think a bit on that, his less knowledge actually represents the ignorance in which most of the Americans are brought up. The movie Forrest Gump tends to sugarcoat dark history of yours. See, it still makes me laugh if I think King of Rock and Roll Elvis Presley must have copied the dance step from someone like Forrest Gump. It sure is funny to think that John Lennon wrote the lyrics to his best-selling single because he attended a TV show with someone like Forrest Gump. These all are fun, but at the same time, as the exposition cleverly happens through the eyes of someone who lacks IQ, some of the dark historical events are toned down and whitewashed, like the Little Rock Crisis, or the Vietnam War, or the Watergate scandal, or even the assassination of Kennedy. He he sees everything, but since he cannot process what is really happening, he neglects and moves on comically. This makes us laugh, but psychologically, it tends to change the viewer's mindset, just like the propaganda movies. This is why I said earlier that I want to believe that Forrest Gump's idiotism represents the ignorance of most of the Americans. Ignorance is not always a bliss.
Ideals are peaceful. History is violent.
See, some of you must be muttering that why the hell is this guy repeatedly comparing it with ignorance? He is stupid, right? Well, I don't think he is as stupid as you people think he is. Forrest Gump is not unobservant, but he is oblivious to everything around him.
She wanted me to have the finest education, so she took me to the Greenbow County Central School. I met the principal and all.
I want to show you something, Mrs. Gump. Now, this is normal. Forrest is right here. The state requires a minimum IQ of 80 to attend public school, Mrs. Gump. He's going to have to go to special school. Now, he'll be just fine.
What does normal mean anyway? He might be a bit on the slow side.
Really? Do you think so? He sits with a poker face when headmaster complains to his mom that Forrest has low IQ. And then headmaster forces Mrs. Gump to sleep with him to let Forrest join the school. What happens next?
Well, your mama sure does care about your schooling, son. You don't say much, do you?
Here, he mimics a sound he heard when Headmaster was screwing his mother. Little Forrest is actually mocking Headmaster that he knows everything. This is a brilliant move by the writer and the director. It clearly gives an idea that the way he behaves acts like a mask for what he really can think. I'm not saying he's pretending so, but people are underrating his IQ. So, in the beginning itself, filmmaker is actually trying to plant this idea psychologically in us that he knows way more than what we think he knows. This piece of information forms a base for the entire story actually. Check out this most beautiful scene, close to the resolution of this movie, when he slowly realizes that he has a son.
His name's Forrest.
Like me.
I named him after his daddy.
He got a daddy named Forrest, too?
You're his daddy, Forrest.
Here, Jenny goes to console him, saying, "It's alright, you haven't done anything wrong." But actually, is he worried about that? No.
Isn't he beautiful?
It's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. But is he smart?
He's very smart. He's one of the smartest in his class.
See how happy he is when she says his son is smart. All this time, he actually knew all about the demerits of the IQ. He was not acting inferior about it, but he knew more than what we thought he knew. His behavior, it was deceiving us in most of the scenes. If you think I'm uttering some fan conspiracy shit, hang on. You must listen to this.
Now, I'm slow, I grant you that, but I'm probably a lot brighter than folks think, 'cause what goes on in my mind is a sight different than what folks see. For instance, I can think things pretty good, but when I got to try saying or writing them, it kind of come out like jello or something.
That voice clip was from the audiobook of the novel. Wait, do you people know that the audiobook of Forrest Gump novel is available on YouTube? I don't think it's official. Go listen before they take it down. So, I was trying to say that what protagonist talks to us directly in the novel is very, very cleverly packed in visuals and dialogues for the movie. Everything is subtle. The information is not spoon fed to us. So, if you also can understand the fact that he knew more than what's comically shown in the movie, then you know why I said twice before that Forrest Gump represents the ignorant Americans. Now, let's once more go back to where it all began, the feather. He picks up the feather when it coincidentally lands at his feet. Is it mere coincidental chance? Or is it God's will? Or is it both? This is the whole theme of the hero's journey that's plotted in the movie. See, in the entire movie, he basically accepts the fates which others were dreaming of and made them his own. Something else happened in the lives of those who dreamt of such opportunities. He he was so open about the life and he accepted everything that came in his way without regret. Again, why would he pick up that feather? It reminded him of someone who wanna be a bird.
Dear God, make me a bird so I can fly far, far, far away from here. Dear God, make me a bird so I can fly far, far, far away from here.
Yeah, Jenny. Even the first time, right before he introduces Jenny's character, through the school bus scene, we can see birds flying away behind him. Even at the end, where she is buried, we can see birds. Now, now, what was her ambition? She wanted to be in the spotlight as a famous singer. Well, Forrest didn't become a singer, but he became a bloody national celebrity, a war hero, a ping pong champion, and finally, a cross country runner who had lots of followers. Now, even about the ping pong, he
For
began
some
playing ping
reason,
pong
ping pong
and
has
another
become active.
soldier made him play it to mock the game. Finally, what happened? He became a champion.
So,
Similarly, he became bloody rich through shrimping board business, which was always his friend Baba's dream.
We all have a destiny. Nothing just happens, it's all part of a plan. I should have died out there with my men, but now I'm nothing but a goddamn cripple.
They gave you the Congressional Medal of Honor.
now that's Lieutenant Dan.
Lieutenant Dan! They gave you.
Military awarded him with the Congressional Medal of Honor, which was Lieutenant Dan's dream.
Yes, sir, they surely did.
At the same time, in return, he inspired others like Elvis, John Lennon, or even exposed the Watergate. Finally, he reaches at a conclusion about the destiny.
I happen to believe you make your own destiny. You have to do the best with what God gave you.
What's my destiny, Mom?
You're gonna have to figure that out for yourself. Life is a box of chocolates, Forrest. You never know what you're gonna get.
I don't know if Mama was right or if it's Lieutenant Dan. I don't know if we each have a destiny or if we're all just floating around accidental like on a breeze. But I think maybe it's both. Maybe both is happening at the same time.
See, that is the beauty of the resolution. So before I conclude, I'm going to shamelessly ask you all to spread the word about this channel. Share the YouTube or podcast links to your friends. And also, please do let me know your thoughts about this channel. Oh, by the way, I almost forgot. There's another reason why I picked Forrest Gump. I hope you have already heard of Lal Singh Chaddha. Colleagues used to mock me saying that if I called some Punjabi by his name, my accent would offend him. So pardon me if I pronounce it wrong. Anyway, if the wiki page is to be believed, Kareena Kapoor will be the Desi Jenny. And if my wild guess is correct, Mona Singh will be the Indian version of Mrs. Gump. And Vijay Sethupathi will appear as a Desi version of Baba. Vijay Sethupathi. Wow. They claim it's not a direct remake, but I believe it's Forrest Gump fried in Bollywood pan, along with some Desi flavors. They have credited Eric Roth for the screenplay, so Lal Singh's journey will coincide with some major historical events of India instead of US. That is that. I'm a huge fan of National Award winner actor Atul Kulkarni. Yeah, Atul sir adapted Eric's screenplay into Hindi. So, fingers crossed. Is it just me, or Forrest Gump often behaves like a PK in America? Anyway, that's it, folks. I hope I have covered everything, and I'm glad that I could share bits and pieces of a movie, which I love a lot. Though I didn't like the way some harsh reality got diluted. Though I have watched it a lot, it took me a while to break down the scenes. If I can, I'm sure you all can. Ages back, when I tried to watch it for the first time, I was so young and immature. Back then, only one thing worried me. See this scene.
But at night time, when there was nothing to do, and the house was all empty, I'd always think of Jenny.
Uh, Forgive me for that, and don't hold that against me. Just erase it. I better sign off for now. I'll be back with an episode which falls under the category Oldie Scored and share a few words on a classic Malayalam movie. Until then, peace.